the US Air Force is one of the central villains in this narrative. And an enormous number of them. It's really interesting. I got onto a very, very senior Air Force officer through an Australian fighter pilot who told me that he knew this bloke and he introduced me to him. And so the next time I was in a certain city in America, I went to see this person. I said, can I come and see you? I've been introduced by this Australian guy who says I'm an okay guy. And the guy sat me down in his living room and his wife was bringing us cups of coffee and cake. And he said, "It's satanic. It's demonic." And I went, "Sorry?" And that was the first thing he said. And he started talking to me about the fact that what we were talking about here was evil and that I had no business investigating it. And he was obviously deeply Christian, and I'm not mocking him for that. I don't see any incompatibility between religious beliefs, Christian faith, and frankly the morality system, even though it may well be a cargo cult that was imposed upon us, but it's a useful thing. But there are people at very high levels in the military who believe this stuff, and I think it has influenced the thinking of people, particularly in the US Air Force and sections of the US intelligence community. They're confronted by it. And if you talk to people like Colm Kelleher, Eric Davis, Hal Puthoff, numerous people who've investigated phenomena like the Skinwalker Ranch phenomena, the Utah farm where there's strange paranormal phenomena, the uncomfortable reality that I'm led to is that you cannot dissociate the phenomenon of UAPs from a broader phenomenon. That what we're talking about here is something that goes to human consciousness. I mean, there are two central mysteries for us as humans. I've wrestled with them all my life. One is, of course, are we alone? Are we the only intelligent species in the universe? And the other is what happens to us when we die. And the interesting thing is, my good friend Leslie Kane, who did what I think is one of the best books on UFOs, apart from In Plain Sight, she's now very much interested in consciousness studies and life after death, as is my friend Nick Cook, who wrote The Hunt for Zero Point. And frankly, so am I. I mean, I'm struck by how many people that I've spoken to from the intelligence world who tell me you can't talk about this just as an extraterrestrial phenomenon. In fact, the ET hypothesis is probably the least likely hypothesis. Although I do think it's possible, if not likely, that we have been visited by sentient, intelligent beings from another planet in our galaxy. I do think that the phenomena that we're seeing most often is, as David Grusch said to me in his News Nation interview, and I can tell you it sent the Pentagon into an absolute spin. He started talking about interdimensional beings. And I can tell you there's an enormous amount in that. And a lot of the people that I speak to urge me to not constrain my thinking just to technology. And this might be part of the reason why, if it is true that the US has had so much trouble replicating this technology, which I'm not sure I believe, but if it is true, it might be best explained by the fact that, as Tom DeLonge hinted in his both non-fiction and fiction books, and you might laugh that I'm quoting Tom DeLonge, a punk rock star, but frankly, I have to say, give credit where credit due. Tom's been way ahead of a lot of us on this stuff from the very beginning. He was, as I write in my book, he was talking to John Podesta in the White House. He was talking to General Neil McCasland, former director of the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base Foreign Technology Division. He was talking to General Michael Carey from Space Command.